All right, guys. So today I'm going to take you through 4 of my favorite mobility lower body warm-up drills, hitting hips and knees and a little bit of spine. So I'll just go jump into them and get loose. Okay, first off, I like to start all kind of warm-ups with a little bit of rotation. So we're going to go world's greatest stretch today to hit that rotation of that T-spine, that thoracic spine, and then also work the hips a little bit. So 2 ways you can do world's greatest stretch. First, and easiest is gonna be back knee on the ground, reaching both arms inside this leg, and then rotating up through that mid spine. The next way, and it's a little more advanced, a little more intense, is to just raise that back knee up. I'm gonna switch sides here. Raising that back knee up, so we're off the floor, into like a lunge position here, and then doing the exact same thing. Rotating through that mid-spine, all the way up here, getting a little bit more of an intense stretch through that down hip and through this hamstring here. From there, I like moving into a little bit more rotation, sort of, but working a little bit more isolated into the hips with hip airplanes. It's the newer one that I've started doing a little more lately. And it feels really good, especially before deadlifts, just to get a little bit more of that lower back and the glutes activated. And so again, 2 ways you can do these. The way that I do them most often is supported, where I'm gonna be holding something out front here. We're gonna sit back into like a single leg RDL here, really sitting into that hip, getting a good stretch here. And then with the airplanes, we're gonna try and pull down with this glute here and open up that top hip. And then we're just gonna reverse it, tucking down, rotating over that hip. The big thing with the hip airplanes here, as I switch sides, is to think about not so much pulling that outside hip up and over, but more pulling down with that hip. So when I go to the right side here, I'm thinking about trying to pull and squeeze this glute down this way, and not as much trying to lift that hip up, if that makes sense. We want to really be working this glute here to contract and squeeze this way. Okay, from here, staying in the hips, just changing the movement a little bit. We're going on the floor, and we're doing 90-90s. So, pretty self-explanatory here. Finding that 90-90. You can start hands behind us. Trying to keep those feet where they are, lifting those knees up, rotating over. So this is gonna be working that internal, external rotation of that hip, back and forth. And as we start to get comfortable and feel a little bit looser, we can kind of work up to a little bit more of a seated position and still just rotating back and forth. If you then want to take it a step further then from here, we can add a little bit of a lift to where we find here. We're lifting that back leg up, getting a little bit extra internal rotation, back down, flip sides, and the same thing on that other way. Okay, so now I'm moving into our last warm-up drill that it's a little bit more of a strengthening warm-up drill, not quite as much mobility, but really helpful for knees, especially if you've had previous knee injuries or get knee pain, knee tightness, any sort of thing like that, is gonna be banded TKEs. And so it's gonna be tying the band off low This one has a pad in the back, which is very nice for this drill. So we're gonna be stepping through, lining that band up right in that knee crease behind, getting that tension, and then letting that band pull that knee forward, going all the way up to that toe. And then we're just pushing down, really squeezing, activating that quad, and just kind of going back and forth here. And so this is very helpful, common knee rehab exercise that you might do in physical therapy, but it's very good for forcing some blood flow through that knee as we take it into flexion and extension. Increases that blood flow and that feeling through the quad and the knee, which then when you get into actual squats, usually will feel more comfortable and less painful. That is a wrap on lower body mobility warm up. If you found it helpful, make sure subscribe below. We've got more training, mobility, health, fitness content coming. Also, leave a comment with whatever you want to see in the future, whether it regards to mobility, nutrition, training, anything health and fitness. Let me know. I want to be able to put out videos that are helpful to you all. So make sure, leave a comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video.